Hello friends, welcome to Java2D tutorial. In this video, we are going to learn about basic stroke and then how to fill outline with solid, dashed and dash dot. So here you can see the rectangle is drawn with the solid outline. Then here the same rectangle is drawn with dash and dot outline. So stroking decides how to draw outline of the shape. So that's the term here in Java2D. We call this as a stroke. That means a line stroke. Line stroke can be solid stroke, or it can be dashed stroke or dash dot stroke, or even you can define a variety of patterns by using the stroking concept. So there is a class given in 2D geometry. We call that as a basic stroke. Using this basic stroke instance, one can draw different style of shape of line. So there are varieties of styles that you can define using the basic stroke instance. For example, using this basic stroke instance, you can change the thickness of the shape outline. So here the shape can be anything. It can be a circle, or it can be a rectangle, or it can be a polyline. So these are all the shapes we saw in the previous videos. So using the basic stroke, you can define the shape outline and how the outline should look. Say, for example, when you draw a rectangle, here there is a rectangle and you can change this line thickness. So if this is a line, by defining a thickness, you can change the outline. That means here the outline will be somewhat thicker when compared to the basic thickness here. Here you see increased thickness, and you can draw the entire rectangle with this specific line thickness. Similarly, you can define dashed outline for the shape. So for example, when you are drawing a circle, here you can see the line is not continuous, and we call this as a dashed outline. So like this also you can draw the circle. So this is a outline with a different thickness, and this is a dashed outline, and this is a dashed outline. You can also draw a dash dot outline. Say for example, there is a dash dot dash dot. Like this also you can define the outline. These are all just 3 simple examples, but you can define multiple outline as you like. So we call that as a outline pattern. You can define your own pattern. Here we talked about the 3 commonly used one: outline with a line thickness, then the outline with dashed one. Here you can see the dashed outline. So here you can see the dash dot outline. The basic stroke class will define the attribute for drawing a pen. So we already talked about basic stroke, and this basic stroke class will define the attribute for the drawing pen. So by changing the drawing pen, you can say how the drawing will appear. So the drawing will appear with a different pen thickness or line thickness, we can say, or the pen will draw the line with the dashed pattern or using the dash dot pattern. Once the instance is ready, we can use setStroke method of Graphics2D to set a different stroking pattern. So in the example, we will simply define a panel and we will add it to the frame window. And here you can see we specify stroke width here. After specifying the stroke width, user can click the set button. So after that, in our drawing panel, we draw two standard shapes. Say for example, if this is our JFrame window, and in the bottom you will see this panel. Let's consider this as A. Here you will see this panel, and we draw two basic shape. One is a rectangle here, and here there is one more rectangle. And in the very first part of the example, we will explore stroke width. This part you can set a width, then you can see how the line thickness is changing here by specifying the different width. So this we will do in the next video. Then in the third part of the video, we will use, or we can define the stroking. So here dash first, dash second, gap first, we will add one more, gap 2. After that we will define our set button. So that way we will define, say for example, the pattern is starting here, dash first, gap, dash second, gap 2. So likewise we can define the pattern. We will learn more about this when we go to the specific video. For now, what you have to know is a stroke means defining the outline, and basic stroke instance of Java2D will define how to define the stroke pattern. Then using the setStroke method of the Graphics2D, you can set the outline for the drawing primitive, for the drawing shape, I mean. Now it's a demo time. We will go ahead and create the panel, and we will add that to the frame window. So we created 4 examples so far. Now we will create the 5th one. Here we will learn about 2D stroking. So first we will go for new class. So I already right clicked on the package name, so you can see the package name is so populated here. We name this class as a stroke panel, and we will derive it from JPanel. So just like how we did in the previous example, we created a JPanel, then we will create a JFrame as well. And this time we named this as a shape stroke example, which derives from JFrame. Or so far we created 4 examples. Now we will go ahead with the 5th example. In this example we will explore how to define shape outlines. So here I am right clicking on the package name, the same way how we created in the previous examples. I am clicking on new, going to other. In one of our previous video, we explained how to create the window builder plugin for Eclipse. So after installing the window builder, you will see a new node for window builder. Here I am expanding it and going to swing designer, then creating the JFrame and naming this JFrame as shape stroke example, and G05 is graphic 05. We are just following some convention. This is fifth example and clicking finish here. Design we will go later. Now we will create a panel as well. New, other, JPanel. We will name this as a stroke panel. Here is the helper for what we are going to define. Here we need to define the panel, and we will add this panel towards the bottom edge of the frame window. So first we need a label stroke width, then a text box, after that a button called set. So here we are in JPanel. We will move to design tab. Window builder will generate the design palette for us. So here I am resizing the panel. Here we will first place our label. And the label is named as stroke width. So here we will pick the panel, and so at present the alignment is in the center. We will click on the layout. First I clicked the panel, and expanding this layout. By default it's in flow layout. Alignment we will choose it as left aligned 1. So stroke width. Next we will drop J text field here, and we will set columns as 2. After that we need a set button. So click here, then once you move the cursor you will see the red line that tells where we want to place the component. So I want to place it next to the text box. So when the red cursor appears after the text box, I am clicking on the panel. So the button is dropped here. I am setting it as a set. So that's the label given to this button. So the variable name for this JText field is txt stroke width. Then I am selecting the button. So by default it has the name of a btn set. We will leave it as it is. Next we will place some other label, J label. dash first, then we will place one more j label, gap 1, then we will place one more, dash second, gap 1 and gap 2. Alright, so when you click somewhere else, you can see the change here, gap 2. Now we will place j text field in between to collect a user input. There's a second j text field, and for a gap there will be one more j text field. So we will select all these. Later we will resize the panel. Now I want number of column as 2. This will reduce the text width to accept only 2-digit numbers. Now we can reduce the panel size. So now we have all the controls. If you want to rearrange these control, you can go ahead with absolute layout. Initially I kept flow layout so that the controls will be arranged automatically. Now I'm going with absolute layout to define my own order. So for example, now I am selecting all these and moving it away from the first set of controls, we can say, and pressing the down arrow to align. Okay. Now we need one more button, set button, and we will place that here next to this. So the first set button is to define the stroke width, and second set button is to define the pattern, or we can say outline pattern. So now we have to rename all these four variable associated to the text field. We will do that now. So we will name it as txt -1 txt -2 txt gap txt gap 2. That's all. We named our controls. We will also name this a set button txt-stroke. So that's the name we gave. So our panel is ready. Now we will go to the source view of our JPanel, and you can see these are all the code generated by the JBuilder. Now we can define some more field. These fields are defined by the window builder plugin. Now here we are defining the float width, or we can say private float. This is the stroke member. At present stroke is 1. Then we have the instance of our shape stroke example. So this is JFrame, right? We have JFrame as a parent here inside our JPanel derived class. That's all here. We will continue our coding. We will stop here with the code snippet 1, and we will continue from the next video. This is just to avoid the video length. We are stopping it here. So far we defined the JPanel. In the next video we will include this JPanel into our JFrame. Then we will see how to use the pen thickness for our shapes. Thank you for watching. Bye.